Morning, everybody. David Shapiro here. Today we're going to test a semantic search engine database. So, what is this? There are a few major contenders out here. So, first we've got Weaviate, vector search engine. It is, I think it has a community edition. Start free, pay as you go. Yeah. So there's that one. There's Pinecone, which is cloud-based, so this is SaaS. There's Milvus, which is open source and runs locally on Docker. And then there's Qdrant, which is very small, and it also runs on Docker. So I'm going to start with this one because it is tiny. So pre-built Docker image, only 40 megabytes. So this is where we're going to start today. So let me close a few tabs. So first, if you've never used Docker before, here, let me make sure you're looking at me. There we go. Sorry about that. So if you've never used Docker before, this is what it looks like. Docker desktop, it allows you to run containers. So you can run Linux-based containers on Windows or Mac or whatever. So there's one thing that you need first is you need to download the Windows, the Linux kernel to run on Windows. Download this, install it, and then reboot. And then you can download and install Docker Desktop, which also requires a reboot. Anyways, so Docker, there's hub.docker.com, which hosts. It's like a package container, but for images. And so basically, when you do a Docker pull, this is where it pulls from. It pulls from Docker Hub. So getting started is super simple once you install WSL if you need it. If you're on Mac or Linux, then you don't need WSL and you can just install Docker Desktop directly. So what we'll do is we will do Docker pull. No, I'm going to go ahead and do this. So, and I've got a so I'm gonna have all the code that I do in this GitHub repo by the end. So we're just starting from scratch. Okay, so Docker pull Qdrant. And you see it runs through its process. Here, let me make this just a little bit bigger. Font, we'll go up to 28. There we go. Okay. All right, so now what do we do? We've got downloaded image, so on and so forth. And if we go over here, you'll see that Qdrant is now here. And you can do it here too. Like you can search. Actually, no, this is, yeah. This is my images. How do you? I think there's a way to search. Anyways, point being, I got it downloaded from here. So let's check out their quick start guide. So we'll just go through. Let's see. I guess first I need to run it. What are the? Because this is not going to be running. Actually, I think I can just, oh yeah, optional settings, host port, that's fine. Okay. So when you run an image, it just starts up right here, and it kind of has a bunch of default settings. So let's make sure that it's working. Can't be reached. Connection refused. What's the problem? Let's see if, what did I do wrong? They're assuming that you know how to run it. Docker run. Here we go. So this is what I'm missing here. Let me zoom in. So one thing to keep in mind is with Docker, it's virtualization, and so there's a virtual network that you need to port or map to your real network. So this won't work. So let me axe this. And what I saw here is run, -p, so that's port. So that will map port 6333, 6333, to port 63333, 6333. Yeah, okay. So that'll map it from the inside to outside, and then we can go ahead and kill this, delete forever. We can come back here. Let's see. So because it'll keep your original copy. So optional settings. 633 633. Wait, why did it? Oh, interesting. Here, let me try it here. There we go. That's what you want it to see. Allow access. And then it should be, yep, quadrant containers, view details. Okay, so that's just a copy of the output. Let's see. Open with browser. There we go. Okay, so now it just spits back its version. So it's in version 0.9.1. That's fine. That's what we would expect. Okay, so let's come back to their quick start guide. All right, so first, let's create a collection with dot product metric. So we're going to say we're going to try something with a vector size of 4, and we're going to use dot product as our distance. So let's copy this, and then we'll come here. Actually, no, I need a new cd Qdrant demo, and then we'll distance is not recognized. Oh, it didn't like it. Okay. Let's close this as my last project. All right, so it doesn't like the backslashes, so we'll get rid of the backslashes. Data raw. Okay, so curl is installed in Windows now by default. So curl x put, so put is the HTTP command. So we're going to go to localhost 6333 collections test collection, content type, and then it'll start with this data raw. So when you do -- data raw, you're basically sending it raw JSON with curl. Okay, CLS. Here, this is too big. It didn't like that either. I wonder if it doesn't like it. Let's see, unmatch close. Huh. There's missing URL. I wonder if it doesn't like it because this is on Windows. Bum, 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 bum. Let's try that, see if it gets rid of some of these errors. So difference between Linux and Windows is sometimes single quote versus double quote. Yeah, okay, so that fixed that part. So then how do you quote? Let's see. Curl Windows tutorial. You can tell how infrequently I use this. Let's see. JSON. Let's see. Curl raw data JSON, and we'll say Windows. Okay. It is with double quotes. Okay, is it really that simple? All right, so we'll just try and change it to double quotes. I would think that it wouldn't work because it'll exit it out, but we'll see. He must be string length. Result null status error. JSON deserialized error must be a string at line 1, column 2. Yeah, so it exited. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, you got to escape out of it. Okay, that's what I forgot. Okay. All right, we're getting there. All right, so what you do is you escape out with the backslash before the inner ones. So that's the JSON serializing. It's so complicated. Hey, there we go. Okay, so we got the result that we needed right here. So we come back to the quick start. and this is the expected response. And we can ensure that the collection was created. So what will come, or actually here's what I'll do. I'll copy this out into, so we'll save this, not under automuse, we'll do Qdrant demo. And so we'll say Windows curl commands. So that way, if you're following along at home, you can, you can get the, there we go, copy. And so then we'll replace the single quote with the double quote because Windows is finicky like that. And we'll come back here. Result, green, optimizer status, okay, index vector count, blah, blah, blah. So there we go. We're good for that. Expected response. And of course, this shows you the response structured, whereas Windows just barfs it out. Okay, so let's add some points. So we're going to need to clean this up. So basically, but let's take a look at this. So what does it mean by adding points? So basically what it means is we're adding data points. And I haven't gone through this before, as you can tell from the mistakes I'm making. So let's see, points. So you send it a JSON, so the outer curly bracket that instantiates the JSON, and then you say, okay, points is the first element, and then it's a list, and the list contains ID vector, or it contains sub-elements, each of which is a hash table that contains the elements ID, vector, payload. Okay, I wonder if you have to do the ID yourself. Interesting, because it's like, then how do you have to keep track of that every time? Like, do I have to increment the ID or what? But I like how it's got the payload. It looks like it's highly variable, right? There's different. You can see that there's different payloads, so you have an arbitrary amount of information you can attach to it, which is actually really perfect for me, because this is going to be critical for my Nexus service. So let's copy this and put it out here, and now we got to clean this up. So first, let's replace. Actually, here, let's copy this into a new one. So first we'll replace those with \that. So a standard double quote with \, double quote. Replace all, so that escapes all of those. And then we'll replace the single quotes with a double quote. And then we will replace, well, here, we'll just do it this way. Data raw. Yeah, that should be fine. So basically all I'm doing is just getting this into a single line because Windows does not know how to handle multiple lines. And I'll copy paste this back over here. All right. Whoops. Completed status. Okay, that was fast. Dang, look at that. 0.0002 seconds. Dang. Now, granted, these are small vectors, so that's fine. All right, go ahead and save that. Okay, expected response. Yep. Oh, yeah, theirs was about just as fast. So that's really dang fast. Okay, so search with filtering. So, okay, the basic thing is you post, or you do a put rather, not a post. So you do a put, and that's how you send stuff to it. So you can't get much simpler than that. And then you do search. So let's go ahead and copy this out, and we'll do a quick search. But let's look at what this is. So the search is you're doing a post. Okay, so put is how you put stuff up there. Actually, what did we do to create it? It was a put. Okay, so to create the collection, you use put. To add data points, you use put, and then to do a search, you use post. So let's come out here. Go ahead and we'll do the same changes here. Actually, I think I know how I'm going to do this. So first, let's go ahead and I'll teach you just a little bit of regex if you don't know that. So backslash is the universal escape. So if you do backslash backslash, that escapes the escape, so that you can then replace it with something. So first, let's just get rid of those. We don't want any backslashes. And then what we'll do is, what I like to do is I'll do backslash space. So that is white space. So backslash space is any white space, and we want any white space of 2 or greater, right? So that captures all the new lines. And so we'll replace those with just a single space. So that brings it all into a single line. And then what we'll do is we'll replace the double quotes. And so we'll switch back to normal mode here. So we'll replace the double quotes with an escaped double quote. And then we'll replace the single quote with the double quote. And so now I have programmatically fixed this curl command, the search one. Okay, so let's get this and let's see if the search works. So do clear screen. Result, there we go. ID4 version score, so it gave me a score, null, null, and let's see if that is what we expected. Yes, so payload null, score, etc., etc. Okay, and that was dang fast. Let's see, time, yeah, it was almost as fast on my computer. But the result is different if we add a filter. So then we can filter our responses. So there you go, and it will reply with the top. So you give it top 3, and this is really similar to what I've done with my Nexus microservice. So this is basically a search microservice, and it looks like it's really darn fast. I think the combination of filtering will be good. Okay, so let's go ahead and clean this up. So we can go back. We'll do backslash backslash and just replace that with a space. Replace all, and then we'll go to those, bring it all into one line, and then we'll do the individual quote, or sorry, the double quote. Replace it with a backslash double quote, and then a single quote with a double quote. And you can save these as macros too. Okay, so this should do a search with a filter. And there you go. It replies with just the 2. Okay, so there you have it. We've got that started, but we're not done, because I'm not going to manually type in curl commands all the time. We need to do this with actual like Python code. So let's go to the step-by-step tutorial next. Okay, so we've got it running. What is neural search? This will give you an overview of, blah, blah, blah. The curse of dimensionality. I remember that when I started learning about support vector machines. I definitely recommend you read this if you're not familiar with neural search or embeddings and so on and so forth. And then, okay, so you scroll all the way down. Here's the full thing. Here, let me go into Qdrant. Okay, it doesn't have the data stored here because it says that it will store it. Oh, I guess, let's see, run the service inside the Docker. You should see output like this. Present. Oh, okay. So, all right, the dash V, that'll do the storage. So what I'm doing right now is not going to be persistent. Save to, and will be persisted even if you recreate the container. Yeah, so what this does is it'll map the internal storage to the external storage. Because one thing to keep in mind is that containers are exactly that. They're fully self-contained unless you map stuff from inside to outside the virtual environment. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. So now we need to actually do the Python bit. So we'll do pip install Qdrint client. So this will install the Python client for us. Ta-da! There we go. So let's go ahead and start a new Python. I think we'll just copy this and we'll save this Qdrant demo Python. And so we'll say Qdrant demo Py. Okay. So when you instantiate the Qdrant client, I'll just call it Qdrant because that's easier to say. I don't know how they say it, but so from Qdrant client, import Qdrant client. Qdrant client equals Qdrant client, localhost, port 633. Okay, cool. All standard, all straightforward. All right, let's come back over here. So now we're going to why does it say recreate collection? Interesting that it says recreate instead of create. Let's see if that works. Okay, so cosine similarity. Okay, oh, so dot product and cosine similarity are different things. I just learned that. And so the distance tells you how it's going to calculate it. Okay, so actually, I guess this will be, we'll just save this as a separate one. All right, so let's run this and see what happens. Python Qdrant demo, and it gave no output. I guess if we come back to our curl commands, we can probably test it. So this was the test collection, but the one that we just created was called startups. So let's redo this, and instead we'll do startups. And there it is. Okay, so we verified that it works. But what I'll do next is, well, here, that's fine. Start a new one. We'll do Python, and so this will be, okay. Create an iterator over startup and data vectors. Let's see, where does this come from? Startups? We should have startups records file in startups.json. Where did that come from? Did I skip something? I probably skipped something. It wants me to have something. Where is this file? Startups list. Raw data can parse data can be found at this link. There it is. Okay. So let's come back here and we'll do save link as. And then we'll come here, we'll do Qdrint, and we'll do startups dot, well, here, that's, yeah, dot JSON. Okay. Make sure that it's here. There we go, startups.json. All right, so now, first we will do, we'll rename this to Qdrant instantiate. So there we go. All right, no, we'll reopen that. Qdrant instantiate, cool. Close that, and we'll do a copy of this, Qdrant instantiate, and then we'll call this Qdrant populate. Yay, Qdrant populate. All right, so then we will edit that with Notepad++, and we'll come back over to their tutorial now that I figured out what I was missing. And then we will go down to here. All right, so fd equals open startups.json, so there it is. Payload equals map JSON loads.fd. Payload is now an iterator. Okay. Here we load all the vectors into memory. NumPy array works as an iterable for itself. Startup vectors. Oh, I need to make the vectors. Where is the startup vectors? See, I do everything the hard way. Is that what map did? No, startup. Yeah, that's got to be a file somewhere. Hmm. I vaguely remember seeing sentence transformers. Yeah, pip install make a search API. Yeah, because this data was pre-prepared somewhere, but I don't know where. I don't know where. That's fine. Open terminal. PWD dir cd Qdrant uh, cd storage dir. Okay, I don't know. But we will go ahead and try. Maybe I'll just make it myself. Pip install sentence transformers. So sentence transformers is pre-trained on BERT and other things so that you don't have to use Google Universal Sentence Encoder as a microservice. So we'll see how fast it is. Yeah. Actually, how long is this video? Oh, wow, we're at 27 minutes. Okay. I might not make it through the whole tutorial. But we've gotten to a we've gotten a good start. So I'll probably stop the video here in a second, and then I'll finish working on this. Actually, I'll go ahead and pause it and figure this out. Yeah, and then we'll get this done. I'll get the this part figured out. Okay, be right back. Okay, we're back. I couldn't find the files, so I just made my own. I copied logs from a recent project, so I've got 25 sentences here, and I'm going to get the embeddings myself. So I just wrote a little thing to load those, and then we're using the all MPNet base v2 from sentence transformers. So then we'll just do print sentence embeddings, and we'll go from there. So just show you where it's at so far. It takes a second to run. So there you have it. You've got a list of embeddings. All right. So now we will go back over to, I had to open up a few things. That's mine. Tutorial. There we go. Okay. So we will come here. And we'll come back down to here. All right, so I'll leave the collection name startups. I'm not doing startups. So vectors, we'll change that name to embeddings, and then payload will be payload. I think that should work. It might prefer that that's a list. We'll see what happens. Okay. Worst thing that'll happen is that it blows up. Takes a second to load. Qdrant client is not defined. What do you mean it's not defined? We'll come down here. Okay, anyways, so it takes 3.2 seconds to do those embeddings. It's doing it on CPU. I'll need to look at how to do the sentence transformers on GPU. Actually, let me pause that and I'll figure it out real quick. Okay, I looked it up. It's right here. you have to do it with PyTorch. I've got Anaconda. I'll figure it out later. It's not that big a deal. Okay, so anyways, yeah. All right, I think we're ready to test this. So we'll instantiate the Qdrant client, and then we'll upload this collection. So we'll use the sentence embeddings and the payload, and we'll go from there. Let's see what happens. So now it's going to spool up those embeddings. Qdrant client is not defined. What do you mean it's not defined? Oh, I have to import it. Hey. Okay, let's try it again. It's not a valid dict. Yeah, I thought that would want a dictionary. Okay. So let's fix this real quick. Let's see. It's going to want info equals, so we'll just do file name equals file, and then content equals dat. And then we'll do dot append. And then for sentences equals list, and we'll do sentences. There we go. Dot append info content. Okay. So then we will embed the sentences, and the payload will be that. Okay, that should work. And we're almost done, I promise. Hey, look at that. Okay. So then we come back over here, and instead of test collection, we will get startups. Okay, and then it says vector size 768, so it liked that. Shard number 1, points count 25, so there's all 25 in there. Cool. And then I guess let's do a quick search. Let's see. Oh, I guess I'd have to do a vector. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay. I think we're at a good stopping point. Yeah, so doing this with, so I will say that that the Google Universal Sentence Encoder is infinitely faster than Sentence Transformer, even with even on CPU. So I will probably default to that. Anyways, yeah, because if you don't need to rely on GPU and it's fast enough, probably stick with that. But yeah, so Qdrant, it seems like it's pretty fast. And we'll go from there. I will probably work on embedding this into all of my microservices. So thanks for watching and have a good day.